Podcast at Ground Zero is presented to you by the Apocalypse. Because without the Apocalypse we wouldn't be doing this show.
Greetings, friends of the apocalypse. This is Podcast at Ground Zero, your home for the apocalypse for episode 95, Transmission from the Bunker, or Where the Fuck Have You Guys Been? I am the Apocalypse Nerd. He is Adam Bomb Glancy. Welcome to the Wasteland.
Welcome, mutants. We're back.
We're back. Yes, we are back. As usual, not full-time, but we are back. It's been a couple of years since we've done some recording, and we won't apologize for that, because I'm tired of saying I'm sorry. Sorry. But sorry, not sorry. But so, we wanted to do this first comeback episode to kind of get the juices flowing again, kind of touch base a little bit on, where we've been at, what's going on, what we're going to be doing. So we previously, prior to this, Mr. Glancy and I had a clandestine meeting about all this.
Yeah, I took the sub shuttle down from the Seattle Metroplex to an undisclosed location, which we will only refer to in the meeting notes as Fort Repose, where we sat down together and breathed the same recycled air in the same bunker in order to develop a plan for emerging back into the wasteland.
Correct, because radiation levels have been too high in our area for us to emerge, even to get just to go out and get the antennas adjusted for broadcast. So what's been going on? Well, leading up to the last episode we did, things slowed down a bit. Part of it was I guess some people suggested, there was some burnout on my part. And also there was just other factors, like my time was being pulled in other directions, and then, the whole lockdown, and that was just, would have been a perfect opportunity, but it was just too depressing for me to continue. Then some other shit came up, just real high level. Had a death in the family I'm still dealing with, and I now have an ex-wife, so that should kind of say it all right there.
Anyone else who's gone through that process will know that it is not conducive to creative productivity.
No, it's not any kind of productivity. It's the only productivity I was able to do is continue to do my job well, so I still had a paycheck so I could pay the rent on the bunker. So that was about it.
Last thing you want to do is get evicted from the bunker in the middle of a rad storm. It's just not good.
It's not good for anybody. So that's kind of where we've been at. So we were talking, and we're going to start picking up the show again. I can't guarantee any kind of cadence on it. I can't say, we're going to do it every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every 2 months, but I'm going to continue to make sure we get together and record as frequently as possible. Okay. So, there's not going to be another 2 years. Might be a couple weeks, between, maybe a couple months. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not making any promises, but hopefully just doing this again will keep me more motivated so we could continue, because there's a lot out there. And something else I was talking to Mr. Glancy about is, we are covering things on the post-apocalyptic. I also want to talk about the trajectory of the show. Now, don't be worried, don't be scared. It's nothing to worry about. We may bob and weave a little bit here on the content, because as Mr. Glancy had put it during our meeting, we have a lot of nerd bleed. Credit to, again, Mr. Glancy here. Nerd bleed, everybody, is we have a lot of that in our show, because we are, first and foremost, geeks and nerds, and how else would we know so much about the subject matter and the topics? But we're all, we're gamers, we're all we talk about all kinds of things that are non-post-apocalyptic related. So I originally was thinking about doing a little change to the show a little bit, because we're still primarily going to talk about post-apocalyptic stuff because that's what the show is. But there's also a lot of times I just feel like doing some geek chat, just talk about nerdy things, geeky things, movie things, whatever it is, things that interest us. So not every episode's going to be about radiation, and that's just the way it's going to be. But again, primarily it's still going to be this subject. But if I want to do an episode about an RPG, which we talk about RPGs a lot, if I want to talk about weird heroes of the public access, I'm going to talk about that. Just so you know, if that's going to come up, guys.
He's not riffing on that. There really is a role-playing game called Weird Heroes of the Public Access. So just hold on to your hats, folks. That's coming.
Weird heroes of the public access. Channel 13, WHPA, Fairhaven. Yes, there is a role playing, which, if we really stretch it, we could be post apocalyptic, at times, depending what the scenarios, or pre apocalyptic. You never know.
Once the bombs fall, I do not expect the major broadcasters to be up and running, but I am expecting some public access. I expect programs being run by guys like Blank Reg from Big Time Television. Wasn't that the pirate station on the original Max Headroom?
I think so.
I think it was Big Time Television, and it was Blank Reg was the 70-year-old punker, which we're all closing in on. It's hard to believe, isn't it, Jared, that the 80s were just 20 years ago?
It was 5 years ago, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure, it's longer than that.
That was all right. 10 years. I'll give it 10 years.
All right, sure. The 80s were probably at least 10 years ago.
So, so it may be stuff like that. Or there's another, again, it's always RPGs with me. There's a role-playing game called Liminal Space, which is about the back rooms. I don't know if you guys know what the back rooms are, but go look it up, because there will be no, like, as I've said before, there's no show notes. I'm completely bad about that. I don't have the time or patience to make show notes, which, is, to a lot of proper shows do that, but
no scripts, no show notes. There's like, a list of 5 things we tell ourselves to cover, and that's it.
Yeah, and then whatever tangents we go off on. So, but Liminal Space, it's about the back rooms, and that could be apocalyptic in a sense. Things could be adjacent. But anyway, so if we talk about a show that doesn't have anything to do with the apocalypse, just be prepared. That's all I'm saying. But again, our primary focus is still going to be the apocalypse, because there is so much out there. Because I was looking. Go ahead.
It's funny how almost having an apocalypse puts you in the mood for more apocalypse. It's affected the zeitgeist.
Well, actually, it put me more back into fantasy a little bit, sword and sorcery. Like during those last few years, I've really been touching base back with my sword and sorcery roots and fantasy roots. So, but there's, like I said, there's just so much out there. I was looking through a lot of the old episodes because I don't remember half of what we covered. Show notes would have been helpful, but
yeah, but who does those?
Who does that? Only professionals do that. So there's so much we could be talking about. There's so much coming out too. Like a couple of things we could hit on is next month on Amazon Prime there is the Fallout TV series coming out.
Yep, we're gonna have to sign up for that as a Fallout fan since, like, I think 98 from Fallout 1. I am going to have to see and probably bitterly complain about it because but actually, so far so good.
Everything I've seen looks good, because here's the thing. People are going to be like, it's not the video game. Well, of course it's not the video game. Do you want a regurgitated vision of the arcade game that you played, 1,000 fucking of the game you played 1,000 fucking times, or do you just want something set in the universe?
I got 300 hours in on Fallout 3 and about the same, and like 400 on New Vegas. I think I am ready for something new. I
think I have close to 400 on 3. It's just I went through all the good ending, bad ending, neutral ending, but
oh yeah.
Just the fact that it's set in that universe and they're telling a different story, people have to be aware of, just as long as they get the major plot, the major points correct, and don't completely butcher it, I'm good with it. So that's coming out. So
Yep.
after that launches and all the episodes come out, of course, we'll talk about that. I mean, that's coming out. Something that already came out was on Apple TV was the Silo was the
Yep.
TV show. Silo, based on the Silo series books by Hugh Howey, and the first season covers about half the first book because it's they got to see if it's going to succeed, and it did. Apparently there's a second season going to be produced.
Yeah, everything about that. You're giving it a thumbs up. We're going to talk more in detail about it later.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's like I said, they made, because it's TV, so you have to make some changes because nothing ever translates directly from books into movies or TV shows. And a lot of purists like that's not the same thing. It's like you have to make changes. You can't you just can't. It can't be the same because of whether it's pacing or this or that. You saw that with the Expanse. They
Hmm.
had to change and condense things, but the show is still excellent. I've read all the books. Unfortunately, they ended it early, but Silo's good. They made some changes, but nothing I think that's detrimental in any way, shape, or form. So that was good. Let's see. So Silo already happened. Also on Apple TV, we were talking about there's a Tom Hanks movie that came out I guess a couple years ago at this point called Finch. I watched that. Not bad. It's okay. We could talk about that. We'll get Mr. Glancy to watch that, and we could talk about that. That movie's pretty decent. What else? What else is upcoming? I think
Didn't No Blade of Grass just re-release on DVD or Blu-ray?
I believe it did. Yeah, I had a bootleg copy of that years ago because that was only what was available. Somebody ripped probably a VHS tape or something, so I had a digital version of it that I burned to that. It's typical 70s bad British
It's a
movie.
little too psychedelic for my tastes, but it's an amazing book if you ever get around to reading
Oh,
No
great,
Blade
great
of
book.
Grass.
All the books because who did those? Was it John Christopher?
Yes,
He
John Christopher is the United Kingdom's daddy of the apocalypse. You will call him daddy, all right, because he does all the most amazing apocalypses.
we're all his bitches.
Yeah, the only thing he doesn't do is he doesn't do Triffids, right?
No, he didn't do Triffids. He did. I think he did the tripods.
Yep,
He's done like books that are. I think he did the. Did he do the Drowned World? The Long Winter. He's done
he did
like
the Long Winter. Yes, he did the and yes,
he's done Cold Apocalypses, Flooding Apocalypses. He's done a lot of. I haven't read all of them. I've read a few of them. Yeah, No Blade of Grass that came out. We covered a while back. I guess it's got to be 2 to 3 years ago now. Is on Netflix was All of Us Are Dead, the zombie show.
yes, Korean.
Came out of Korea with the high school students. I guess that was probably 3 years ago at this point.
Yep.
There's another season coming out. It was decent. We covered it. So once that season comes out, we'll cover that.
And it's a lovely homage to Train to Busan. They literally name drop Train to Busan in the middle of their zombie apocalypse, which I was very happy
Well,
about.
as well you should, because that was a good fucking zombie movie. Because it
One of the best.
in a landscape of too many fucking zombie movies and TV shows, Train to Busan did it right. I think they did a good job. I really
Mhm.
enjoyed that film. Um, it was so good, in fact, that my ex-father-in-law, who was not into that kind of stuff, liked the movie. So that's how good that movie is. Okay,
You,
so
you you sold a heretic on it. You sold a heretic on the true faith. All right, good.
yeah. Well, no, he told us about it. He's like, did you see this movie? And I was like, wow. Anyway, let's not talk about him or her or anything like that.
Gotcha.
So that's coming out. I mean, there's movies coming out. There's another Mad Max movie coming out, Furioso, which is set in the kind of Mad Max universe. Like the first movie. We talked about that when that came out. That was it a reboot? Was it just a tale in this story? It's fine. We have our original trilogy. If they want to tell another story, kind of a retelling of the myth, which is perfectly fine. So it's kind of like a different mythology in the same universe. So that's coming out, which I'm going to see that, of course. There's another Silent Place movie coming out. We
Mhm.
did we did
A Quiet
A
Place.
Quiet
A
Place. There you
Quiet
go.
Place,
Thank you.
yes. Versus The Silence. There was another quiet apocalypse.
So, the second one did tell where it came from, but this, I believe, takes place in a large city. So it's ground zero in a large city. Oh my God, I can't imagine the it's going down chaos that's going to happen in that movie. So I got to check that out.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know about apocalyptic, but you know, it's certainly adjacent. Alex Gardner's Civil War is going to be nothing but, oh my God, it's going down right now. Just an ant's eye view of of a deep mess. Which again, that's one of the things we love about our post-apocalypse or apocalyptic films is they do have an aspect like a disaster film, don't you think? When it comes
Yeah.
to the oh my God, it's going down right now, that part where you're in the middle of it reminds me a little bit of the way disaster films used to be, like Earthquake, as
Yeah.
opposed to an airplane crashing or something, while it was Airport or Airport 79. But yeah, there's a disaster film aspect to some apocalypse films, and it looks like Civil War is going to bring a whole ton of that. And
Oh,
Gardner's the guy who brought us 28 days later, so he has his apocalypse in his resume.
and I believe he's working on 28 years later.
Yes.
So we get more of that coming. So there's a lot of good stuff coming out to cover. I'm starting to reread one of my favorites that we never talked about on the show, and I want to cover that book too. Is Eternity Road by Jack McDivitt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Post-apocalyptic classic. It's one of the better ones out there. I think. Now, mind you, as usual, it came out in 1998, so it's a little bit dated, and people have complained about that we don't cover anything new. And it's a fair critique.
But again, like the '90s were only what 10 years ago tops.
It was
I don't know
last
what
week.
I don't know what these kids are complaining
It
about.
was
That
last
was
week.
like,
Last week.
yeah.
Well, that's when I was at the height of reading. All that stuff was 80s, 90s, even into the early 2000s. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's come out, but a lot of it's I don't know. A lot of it's prepper porn. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
not. It's not.
it's very fanficky. It's very what's the old what's the term something Sue Mary Sue,
Very
except
soon.
it's a Mary Sue is like are the novels or the stories where the author has clearly placed themselves, an idealized version of themselves, in the center of the story, and that's what we're getting. Except with a lot of post-apocalypse we're getting these days, it's very Gary Sue. It's what I mean. It's authors who are placing themselves, idealized versions of themselves, in the middle of the apocalypse, and sort of it's all very throwback to Johnston's Blank in the Ashes. It's just not it just doesn't have any. A lot of the most recent apocalypse stuff, like you were saying during the bunker meeting, was that just doesn't it lacks any nuance. It lacks any new ideas. It's just prepper porn.
It's
It's
prepper.
just
It's revenge porn. I'm gonna kill and hate all the people that I hate. I don't know. It's like I mean, some of it throws back. It throws back a little bit to. I mean, you and I both read a lot of the adventure novels in the late
sure.
'70s, early '80s. They're survivalist. With Dr. John Thomas Rourke with his twin stainless steel Daytonic 45s with Pacmar grips, and you
Yeah.
know, The Last Ranger and End World and Outlander, and
Oh, even Larry Niven's Lucifer's Hammer has a moment where he manages to get the people he dislikes the most all on the same side, which is let's
cannibals.
see, all the cannibals, but the cannibal army starts being made up of evangelicals and the Black Power movement from the '60s, and I'm like, they're natural allies, according to Larry Niven, and hippies. It's like all the things he doesn't like are on the same side. And I'm like, oh, Larry, I'm not quite sure these two make natural allies, but because Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle didn't like them, they were on the same side. But there's always some comeuppance
Oh yeah, there
in
always is, but
but almost too much of it these days.
yeah. So, well, from Lucifer's Hammer, we get the classic line is um, it's I'm not gonna get the quote exactly right, but it's a good strip of beef jerky is rock hard, and you could follow the end to a point and kill a man. That's that's like the best line in the whole fucking book. But so yeah, a lot of the stuff I've seen just doesn't. It's just like, no. That's why I haven't picked a lot of that stuff up. Or well, when did Dies of Fire come out? The SCA porn.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're right. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, because I, went to the Ren Fair, I'm prepared for the apocalypse. Are you though? Are you sure about? Yeah, apparently according to the Sterling. According to Sterling, you're ready for the apocalypse. It was SM Sterling, wasn't it?
I believe so, but should we be objective and give them their fair chance in a perfect world? But it's my fucking show. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, we're
It's just
not perfect. We're not giving them a chance.
no, it's just because also like another yes, apparently, folks, this is a rant show too. This coming back episode, but
Speaking of rants
rants, what
and the
grinds my
greatest,
fucking gears.
what's the greatest science fiction? What's the greatest apocalypse novel of all time, Jared?
Apparently, because I've seen this, as I'm on several different science fiction and fantasy groups, and people keep on asking for recommendations for post-apocalyptic novels, and without any doubt, I know what's going to come up because constantly people are posting a Canatel for Leibowitz, constantly, and raving and ranting about how great it is. It's the best. I saw somebody literally say that it is the best post-apocalyptic novel ever, and I'm like, they are fucking high as a kite. I've read
Yeah,
that.
maybe
I've read that book.
maybe
It's not great.
so have I. It's maybe there's only one third of it that takes place in what one might call an post-apocalyptic landscape. Okay, sure. Everything in the novel takes place after the apocalypse, but there's a point where you have completely. I mean, aren't they shooting things into space by the third one, the Republic of Texarkana or whatever it is? They're going to the moon. They're going to orbit, or they're building starships by the end of the novel.
Oh,
And
it's
I'm
not.
like,
It's not. It's
okay,
not even. It's not
we're
even.
not
It's not
we're
even.
not in the apocalypse anymore. We're not in the post-apocalyptic. You have built a new world. The new world runs like clockwork now. All the challenges of the so-called post-apocalyptic world are gone. I'm not seeing it as post-apocalyptic.
Oh, it's not even that. Even the post-apocalyptic is, I don't know, trash. It's just not even. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's a good book. Um, but but
There,
people.
there they are with it was that Canticle for Leibowitz is 1959. What else came out in 1959, Mr. Wallace?
Oh, I don't know. Alas, Babylon.
Yeah, yeah. How about that one instead? And no, just shoot right past the last battle. Doesn't Canticle feel like it's almost the corporate answer? Like it's like you're supposed to say it. Like, oh, of course, Canticle for Leibowitz, and like it's like saying, well, it's the greatest fantasy novel ever written, and they go, oh, well, clearly it's Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, without even considering
Well,
the rest of the material that's out there.
well, it's kind of like this thing, like in gaming. Like there's this thing in the back of the Dungeon Master's Guide called Appendix, or is it, yeah, called Appendix N, which has all the different books that influenced Gygax in his development of Dungeons and Dragons.
Mhm.
So a lot of everybody's like, oh, you have to read Appendix N, then everything on that list are like, it's like, oh my God, it's like if it's not on that list, it's you have everything on the list is great, and not everything on that list is great. It's that same kind of that same kind of thing.
Yeah, they're giving this too much credit, perhaps because it turned up in an appendix somewhere else, where somebody said, "Oh, well, it was an inspiration for Gamma World or something," which it's not. I mean, I don't think that's James Ward ever said anything about that. And also, R.I.P. James Ward. While we're on the topic, we should mention that we lost one of the great
Yes.
granddaddies of the apocalypse very just recently, and that sucks.
Yeah, he created the first post-apocalyptic role-playing game. We interviewed him a number of years ago. Could have went better, but
We had
yeah.
the most amazing technical difficulties during that, but we
Oh,
got the
it was fan-fucking-tastic. Well, also, he wasn't very savvy and using his computer, so that and the technical difficulties made it just a total shit show. But we managed to salvage it, and yeah, we lost him. He hasn't been well of late. I know, but it's sad. He'll be missed because he was busy writing a lot of not memoirs per se, but like he was posting on his patrons and stuff, just a lot of his stories about his days at TSR and stuff like that, just to help to make sure history is right, because the something that always comes up is the whole deities and demigods, which he wrote back that came out in 81, I think, 81, and there was a lot of controversy with the first printings because it had Elric, it had Cthulhu, and he always tries to set the story straight with all that, because everybody
and
thinks it's
but the
different.
bottom line is he is definitely firstest with the mostest. I mean, that's it. He did it first with Gamma World, and that carries it. And Metamorphosis Alpha, that carries an enormous amount of weight.
Oh yeah, well, Metamorphosis Alpha was, the post-apocalyptic dungeon crawl, in the Starship Warden, and then he took it onto the planet Earth. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he'll be missed. Another one of the old guard gone. They're slowly disappearing. So anyway, but besides that, like I said, with books, I guess taste in books are subjective. So, but like I said, I'm rereading Eternity Road. I'll get Mr. Glancy to look at that again so we could cover that book and why we think it's so great. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, folks. Did I miss any of our
No,
points?
that's everything we wanted to cover. We want to make sure that people know sort of where we were without overburdening them with a bunch of details that are TMI. And now we're telling them where we're going. And the bottom line is, I will admit that we missed you guys out there. We missed making this content, and we wanted to get back into it.
And apparently you guys missed us because, you guys would leave love every now and then, and we appreciate that. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, look at this. Oh, I guess we are limited. I just had we record via Zoom, video conferencing. I got a meeting, and I got a notice that popped up saying your meeting will end in 10 minutes. They want me to
Yeah,
upgrade.
well,
They want me to upgrade to Pro, so I guess we're limited to an hour. So
good, good, good. Maybe we'll finally have some discipline about that. So wrapping up, sir.
wrapping up because we got 9 minutes and 30 seconds left. So yes, folks, that's where we are. We are back. We will be back again. I will try to make sure we get episodes recorded as much as possible. Like I said, I can't guarantee a cadence on that, and we'll get those going again. And yeah, we're glad to be back. Again, thanks you everybody for your patience, your outreach. It is appreciated. And yeah, so I'm gonna get this get this wrapped up, get this posted, and then Mr. Glance and I will talk about what's next. So that's it, folks. So again, thanks for your time today, and we will see you in the wastelands.
Keep up to date with us by visiting podcast@groundzero.com and subscribe to the blog via email. If you enjoy the content we produce, please consider supporting us with a cup of coffee. Go to ko-fi.com/PCAGZ for more details.